We can start. Okay, so 6 p.m. This is the informal meeting of the Common Council, March 16th. Can we begin with the roll call vote?
Councilmember Haddad,
Here.
Member Kernan,
Here.
Councilmember Moranti,
Here.
Councilmember Cousin. Here. Councilmember Bolo.
Here.
Councilmember Belton. Sin.
Foster is behind.
Councilmember Foster.
Here.
Councilmember Roberts, absent. And
Ronnie.
we have
Ronnie is option.
Councilmembers Roney and Sarah are they excused?
But they're not they're absent.
Oh,
So the minutes from the last meetings have been put on file. All department reports have been posted, and we're going to begin with committee reports. I think finance, you don't have anything because there was no meeting, correct?
No.
Okay, so we're going to begin with safety, Henry, just highlights of, we have your report for your committee, so just highlights of the last month.
We got the normal monthly report. Not a huge amount of activity, which is great. There was not a ton of discussion. The discussion we did have was brought up by, issue was brought up from 4 community members that wanted to discuss the possibility of a residential parking permit for the commercial district, which is just Warren Street. So we had some discussion about that, and we'll see what happens between now and the next month and see if we can get something language relating to parking permits. That was pretty much it.
Infrastructure,
Yeah, we had our presentation from out there, as we always do. They're looking for gathering a $350,000 repair project coming at the sewer plant, maybe in the next year. Sounds like he was going to work on some funding or just getting it in our heads that there's gonna be some efforts into funding that. He brought up the fact that this summer there will be 2 park employees instead of 3, and it could impact the amount of mowing that they get done. There was a communication from a resident about crosswalk signal at Fairview and Green Street, that if you're crossing Fairview there, you're a little unprotected. And Rob explained that as the project was being built, there was some things in the way of the landing point of the crosswalk, so we kept getting pushed away from the corner. And that's not ideal. There may be something we can do with tying to give them a head start there so that, and then there was a couple of complaints about the quality of the asphalt on the sides of Glenwood, which is a bike boulevard or a bike school bus route. And then I talked about a couple capital projects that I'm just brainstorming and getting some information from Labella engineers about. And that's what we're on.
services, Dominic, highlights from services.
Sure. There, not much from seniors. I did go over there, since we don't have a representative, and just, spoke to, Ms. Teagarden, and most of the programming, that is going on from 9-1 is done by the county, including the meals program. So we have, I think, 1 program, through Hudson, which is, I think it's the Zumba, that's being offered. It's basically, it's a drop-in program. So we did talk about the possibility of, I'm going to create a survey and send it to individuals living in Bliss and Providence Home for seniors to see if they would be attending the senior center if there's transportation on a regular basis from their location. to hopefully, get them an opportunity to, use the senior center if they have transportation. So if, I'm wondering if transportation is the barrier, from seniors attending, the senior center. The youth department, a couple of things, the basketball program, was a success. It finished up, 2 weeks ago. And Calvin is in talks with the mayor regarding the assistant director position, how that can be, reinstituted, and how it can be funded. The, programs, he's got some good ideas. Calvin's got some good ideas for, some programming, down the line, including a Saturday breakfast club. And also during the break, which is great, they opened up their doors for activities, at the youth center, where in the past, during school breaks, the facility was closed. So for 3 of those days, they opened up, for individuals, and also did a field trip, to the museum on Friday. So, that's some good stuff that's opening that up. There is one, important note that Calvin has come up with a contingency plan, in the event that what happened with the heater happens again, to have an alternative programming at the firehouse with the grab and go program, supplies, so they can do programming at the firehouse if that ever happens again for some reason that they can't use, the youth center. I think that's.
Yeah, sounds about right. I was the techie at that meeting.
Okay.
Legal committee, we met, we discussed 2 issues. Short-term rental, language relating to, the situation where individuals who live here for 50 days, can rent out their homes for up to 60. And that is that's on my list of things, to look at local law to look at this evening. After discussion and having gotten some data from Michelle Tulo on the number of people, residents who actually do this, the recommendation from the legal committee is that we do not change the number of days that, the rental can go beyond the 60 days. But then we put language in, requiring that there be a local contact. And that is in the local law piece that is here this evening. The other thing that we discussed at length, was a, proposed revision to the code that was brought forward by a community member, relating to the definition of quantification of the usage of the dock in 2011. That is still in committee. There are still issues for us to resolve, around, concerns that were raised by the lawyers for Colarusso. And so we still need to work through, exactly what our scope could be in doing that. So we'll continue to discuss that in committee. So the one thing that came out from legal this month is the STR language that you'll see later, and that's it for legal. Any questions on the committee reports? No? Okay. Next up is, it's listed here as a proclamation. This is actually going to be a resolution next week. I'll put the resolution format at the top there. So Claire, do you want to talk to us about our proclamation here that you put together?
Sure. So the Hudson Blue Hawks varsity boys basketball team won the Patrona Conference. Yeah, and they're on their way to the Final Four for state. So this is just a supportive resolution, honoring the hard work of them and the coaches, and talking about the pipeline of youth programming all the way through to high school sports. I don't know if anybody got a chance to read it yet. If there's anything you want to add to it, or change, now would be a good time.
Are there any, I don't have any changes. Anybody got anything else they want to add or change? Okay, so we will have that for next week.
And I plan to invite the team to come and receive it.
Yes, exactly. We did have a communication from a community member who does use the 60 days, so that was posted in the communications folder under STR. And so now we're going to go to resolutions, Logan. So I'm just going to introduce these. So these are all things we'll vote on next week. First one is resolution relating to the commissioners of deeds. Next resolution, I believe Heather is on. The next resolution is, this is a 2025 budget issue, budget transfer from the water fund, from personal services to water hospitalization HRA reimbursement. The next one, which is fairly lengthy, is a resolution relating to encumbrances. So Heather, is Heather on, Logan?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Heather, do you want to just give the council a very brief description of what these encumbrances are? You don't have to go through each one, but just what's involved here, and if anyone has questions on any particular encumbrance, they can ask.
Okay, that's fine. So basically encumbrances are the recognition that there are elements of the 2025 budget that have to be carried forward and modified to the 2026 budget. There's basically two categories that fits in. The first category would be a purchase order that was made in 2025 with the intent of using 2025 budget monies to cover that purchase. We closed the 2025 books at the end of this month. So up until this month, departments can it's called charging back. So they could, but if they get something in, say, February that they ordered in December, they can charge that expenditure back to 2025. After the end of March, they can no longer do that. So for any products or services that were committed for in 2025, using 2025 budget, we have to take that money and move it from the 2025 budget to the 2026 budget. So when the product or service finally comes in, they have the cash available to pay it. So basically the expense doesn't hit 25, so that money's available. We put it back into 26 so the product or service can be paid for. The other major category is basically any kinds of grants or donations if they've already been committed. You'll see there's a lot for FOHI because, you know, when FOHI gives us money, they give us money with the assumption that that money will be spent. And if there are balances left in the money that they have donated, those balances get carried forward to the next year. It can't just fall to fund balance because it was provided as a committed amount of money to be spent against, in this case, the youth department. You'll also see dive team donations, fire department donations, et cetera, and so forth. And that's basically the top line summary of what that is.
Any questions on the encumbrances? Okay. The next resolution relates to year-end budget transfer. This is a number of areas where additional funds were needed to balance, and the funding is coming from hospital and medical insurance across an array of areas. Any questions on this one? Okay. The next one is a budget amendment. This relates to a replacement of card access system, which is required for the fire department. Their current system is not consistent, it's not compatible with their new operating system. So this is actually a budget amendment for the 2026 budget. Anyone have any questions on this one? Okay. Amendment. And then the next one, and for this one, I will introduce her, but I'm also going to be looking for a vote on this. Is Chief Franklin online?
Yeah.
Good. So Chief Franklin and Sheriff Salvatore are seeking funding for a community project. I posted also the proposal for that project. This would be a Columbia County Recreation Center. And she had requested letters of support. We have letters of support, or rather she has letters of support from multiple entities. Let's see, put that on my list. We have Friends of Hudson Youth, Greater Promise Neighborhood, the DA's office, 8 parents from the Parents for a Healthy Hudson. I think the mayor's office, I believe, also has submitted one. And so I put together a letter of support for this project from the council. If anyone has any revisions they'd like to make, I'd like to give Chief Franklin an opportunity to describe to you what his proposal is about. She online?
She's muted right now.
So Chief, we cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I just want to give you an opportunity to describe to the council this project where we have put together the letter of support from the common council that you and Sheriff Salvatore are heading up.
Oh, sure. So, I mean, this is the very early stages and Josh Riley's office has a capital, a community funding grant opportunity. And I met with one of his representatives a couple of weeks ago and just discussed something that I thought was pretty important to myself, Sheriff Salvatore, residents, residents of Hudson and Columbia County, and the fact that we don't have a designated center for youth, senior programming, or essentially a hub for all of our whole community to come together. And so we envision a project where we have multi-generational programming, mentorship, and just support for everyone in our community in one space.
And the proposal is available for review. So I'm not seeing any hands raised in the room. Dominic?
Chief, just one question. Is this going to, the facility going to then host the youth center, or is it going to be competition at the youth center? Or do you see an opportunity to sell the youth center to help fund a new facility located in city limits?
So what I envision is that this center encompasses the youth center. It's by no means a project to get rid of the youth center, but to make a broader, expand the programming to support all of Columbia.
So it would not necessarily be within the city limits. It would be, it's a Columbia County initiative.
Columbia and Green County or?
No,
Columbia.
Columbia.
No, so it would be for Columbia County, being that we are a municipality within the county. And then I did have a brief meeting today with Fohi and Calvin to kind of discuss like that vision a little bit more.
I think it's fairly too early probably to have.
Yeah, it's very in the early stages right now.
Well, let me know if you need blueprints, but I have blueprints of my dream when I hit the lottery for the years before. So let me know if that's a great idea.
Yeah, and obviously this should be a discussion community wide. I had to submit the proposal pretty quickly. It was like a 3-day time span of when I received the information to submit it. So it all happened very fast. Like, again, this is very initial stages, and I don't know if we'll even be considered to move forward with funding. It goes to Representative Josh Riley. They decide which projects are, I guess, worth their while to advocate for in Washington, and then we would know from there.
Thank you.
So can I get a motion to vote in support of submitting the letter?
Is the grant, is it all federal funds or dimension funds or, you know?
I believe it's all federal funding.
Can we have a motion vote? Motion?
Motion.
Motion from Henry, second from Claire. Roll call vote. And we know who's absent.
Okay. Councilmember Haddad,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolo,
Aye.
Councilmember Bernhagen,
Yes.
Councilmember Cousin. Aye. Councilmember Moranti.
Aye.
Councilmember Boston
Aye.
and President
Morris.
Morris.
Aye. Okay, so Chief, the letter is already out there. I will email that, I get that out tomorrow, and send you a copy.
Thank you, and thank you,
Uh,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, next up, Logan, is the short-term rental, local law. So this is just being laid on your desks. I had initially proposed putting language in specific to individuals who are renting their homes out for up to 60 days. But on review of the full law, our council recommended putting the change into section 1A, so that the requirement that short-term rentals are permitted to operate within the city of Hudson, this is kind of applies both to people who have a short-term rental on their property and also to folks who are renting out their homes for up to 60 days. In any of the following circumstances, and then that the law lays out the various circumstances, provided that all such rentals will require designation of a local contact person and provision of contact information to the Hudson Police Department and to the Code Enforcement Office. And so that will ensure, obviously, if you are the individual living in the property, you need a short-term rental, you would probably be the local contact, but somebody who is not going to be in town would have to have a local contact. We did get a recommendation, and I will follow up with the mayor's office and the legal committee, which I forgot to mention, that we should post on the city website, that if anyone has an issue or has a concern about a short-term rental that appears not to be in compliance, that Michelle Tulo is the contact person, because not everyone is aware of the fact that there is an individual in City Hall that they should contact. So I will follow up with the mayor on that. We're just laying this on your desk tonight. This will require a public hearing. 90% certain that it's going to be a mayor's public hearing, but I need to confirm that with the mayor's office. And any questions on this particular change to the short-term rental law?
Can you summarize the discussion of extending it beyond 50 days? I think it was 120 days
Yeah,
initially.
we were looking at 120 days. A couple of residents who do this I have been approached by a couple of people. I know other council members have been saying that they would really like to be able to extend it to a longer period. So in considering that, I went back to Michelle and she pulled a year's worth of data. And in that period, there were only 13 registered. Now, there are some potentially who are not registered, but there were 13 registered people who were using that part of the law. And of those, the majority were renting out their homes for a 15 to 30-day period, which would be consistent with renting out your home when you're on vacation. There were a couple, 2 or 3, who were close to the 60 limit, but the majority of those 13 people were well below the 60 limit. So in our discussion, it didn't seem that this was, and there is some community, we've had community communications not supporting extending it. And I think in light of the fact that there are so few people that this would pertain to, that the legal committee was recommending that we not change the length of rentals beyond the 60 days. Is that a pretty fair summary? For those of you who are on legal?
Yeah,
Any other questions?
yeah, I have a question. I've did some research in our law since then, and there's a difference between full-time residents and part-time residents. And full-time residents have almost no restriction, but there's no definition of when you switch from part-time resident to full-time resident. Everyone takes vacation. Is there?
Yeah,
Do you know it, or?
The part-time residents have to live here 50 days.
Well, that I understand, but if you are a full-time resident, your restrictions seem much less. There's no definition of restrictions. So I don't know if this woman, the letter we received, if you take the summer off, are you a full-time resident? Is that you're here 9 months? Like what's?
so she falls into the category of somebody who is here for over 50 days, who wants to, the distinction is not so much that, and there are a lot of problems with this law, and one of them is that residents are not defined. But the reason she falls under this is that she, while she is not in town, wants to rent out her entire home. And it's right, so it's not, the differential is I have a unit on my tax property that I'm renting out. Maybe I'm in my home 365 days a year, maybe I'm not, but it's a unit that I actually have a residence on the same tax parcel. But there are many challenges, so,
Okay.
but we,
I understand your point.
yes,
I believe the full time member still has to be there to be present. At the time.
Oh, I think.
So maybe we have to revisit the definition of residence
Yeah,
eventually.
yes, I think we probably should revisit some things in this law.
Mhm.
But the one thing that is
Yeah.
clear to me is that there ought to be a local contact.
Yeah.
And that's particularly for people who are by definition not here when their entire homes rented out. So we're not taking any action on this tonight. There will be a public hearing. Let's see, it's that one. These reports. I don't have any old business to bring up. Does anyone want to bring up new business?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't.
Go ahead.
I'll leave it at that. I'd like to make a statement about President Morris's recent comments. It has received a lot of attention and is distracting from the work of the common council. The reaction has become political in two directions. Some call for her removal from office and others defend her with blind faith. I learned of the accident on February 23rd. I called Margaret and asked her what had happened and if she was all right. She told me it was a minor tap of the building. She was fine. She had given her insurance information for the building. Then the video showed up on social media. And I felt I could not deny what I saw. I saw President Morris dismiss this shopkeeper, delay the police, and resist the building owner. She eventually shared her insurance card hours after the accident had occurred. The mayor then asked President Morris for an explanation. I anticipated an apology and to move on. I was disappointed with what we received. Professionally, this has been a distraction. Personally, I felt like I was being expected to believe something different than what I had watched in the videos. That's basically all I wanted to say. It lies with President Morris. If she wants to talk further or anything about it, but that's, I wanted to address my thoughts.
I would be happy to make a statement. And Claire had indicated that she did want to speak. So I do understand that there is concern in the community regarding the accident that happened last month. On February 20th, I was involved in a minor accident on parking lot on Warren Street. As I pulled into the parking space, my car slid on the ice and the left front of my car tapped the building in front of me. I got out to inspect and saw no damage to my car. At that time, I did not believe, since my car was undamaged, that I had caused any damage to the building. The building owners came into the parking lot. They pointed to an issue on the wall and they said that I had damaged the building. I found that encounter was starting to become uncomfortable and confrontational. I did not want to get into a confrontation. They indicated they would call the police. I decided to remove myself from the situation, leaving my car where it was until the police were present. It was not several hours later, it was a few minutes later. When the police department came, I cooperated fully, providing them my driver's license and other documents. I also provided my phone number to the building owner. At no time did I ask for nor did I receive any special treatment from the police department. I did not identify myself as an elected official, which would have been wholly inappropriate. The officer at the scene was professional and courteous. As soon as the incident report was available, I submitted a claim to my insurance, which is currently in process, giving the address of the building. I do not post on social media. I do not respond to anything on social media. And I've been made aware of these posts about the incident from people who have read them. I apologize for my desire to avoid a confrontation has caused concern in the community. And I really do not have anything further to say on the topic. It's a private issue. My insurance is handling. Is there any more new business?
I appreciate your statement, and when I asked initially for the statement, it was also for transparency for us as council members to be able to respond to the public. Because as Jason said in his statement, what people are seeing on the video, the court of public opinion, like that's out of our hands. We can't change their mind based on what they're seeing, but I would have loved to be able to defend your account versus what's online and be able to assure the public that we are all working as coworkers and are aware of what's happening, to just be able to have that
We should
conversation.
actually issue a statement to both newspapers and also to gossips a couple of weeks ago. So I'm just issuing it again.
And I appreciate it.
Is there no more new business? I would like, I'm not, if you want to comment on this, I'm taking no public comment on this issue.
Public comment could at the end.
Is it on this issue?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just curious, the transfers from 2025 to
Yeah.
appropriated fund balances that are going to be appropriated in 26. I think there's 91,000 senior center use of grants and donations. And I would appreciate a little more color on it because this comes as a surprise to me and I thought I was keeping track.
Are you talking about,
91,000 on
Last line item.
you're talking about the encumbrance?
Yeah.
It's not-
the fund balances that are being moved to 26.
No, this is an encumbrance, right? So Heather, if you're still on the bottom line on page 1, senior center use of grants and donations, there's $91,000 and 641 cents.
Yes, so the youth center received a very sizable donation in 2025, north of $80,000, a single donation from somebody who used to participate with the senior center and left money to the youth, to the senior center as well as many other entities in Hudson as part of her will. That money was not significantly spent in 2025. So as we said, because it was money donated to the city with the specific purpose of being used for the senior center, any remaining balance will get moved into the 2026 budget. I will also note that as part of the 2026 budget, the BEA determined that we would use those funds in order to offset the majority of the costs of running the senior center in 2026. So there will not be much of that left at the end of 2026.
Thank you, that's clear, okay. It's a nice little, I didn't know that, glad you did.
You have another member online.
Who is online?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, hi. You hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Good. I'd like to bring up an issue that I consider to be, even for like the past 4 years, to be the elephant in the room, so to speak. The elephant in the room that you're in, not me. And I want to state some facts, and then I'm just going to make some comments in the form of a couple of rhetorical questions. Here are the facts that you should all be interested in. You should all be aware of it, at least, seems to me. But the person that these facts are in regards to isn't in the room right now. It's Councilmember Diwan Sarawar. In 2016, about 10 years ago, in May of 2016, Diwan Sarawar and somebody by the name of Azmiran Sanya purchased a house at 46 Green Acres Road in Greenport. Now, the mailing address, of course, is Hudson, New York, 12534. But the physical house that Diwan and Azmiran purchased almost 10 years ago is certainly not within the boundaries of the city of Hudson. As a matter of fact, it's about at least 3/4 of a mile north of the border with Hudson and Greenport, as I said, on Green Acres Road, which is off Jocelyn Boulevard. And Diwan is claiming that he's not living there with his wife or partner, whoever Azmiri Sanya is, that he purchased the house with, and where his child or children live. Diwan Sarawar is claiming that he lives on Columbia Street in the first block of Columbia and has been for the last 4 or has it been 6 years, that he doesn't live with his wife or partner that he bought a house with on Green Acres Road in the town of Greenport, New York. Now, I know that if you go to Green Acres Road in Greenport just about any night, you're bound to find Diwan's car parked out front. You won't find it parked in the 100 block of, or the first block of Columbia Street, where he claims to live and reside in the ward that he supposedly represents. This has been an open, this is, excuse me, I want to say last two
I'm just giving
things.
you a heads up that your time is almost up.
Here are the questions. Do any of you, for 1 second, believe that Diwan Sarawar actually sleeps at night in the city of Hudson
Can you?
and not in Greenport? And if Diwan Sarawar indeed lives in Greenport, you have a big problem.
Okay, so thank you, for that comment. We're not going to discuss personal lives
Yeah,
or where people speak. Any other new business? Yes,
Did I understand you said you're not gonna take questions about the accident?
no.
On what grounds?
It is my privilege as chair of this to decide whether or not I'm allowing public comment. I'm not allowing public comment.
Okay.
Any other new business? Oh, go ahead.
Just for clarity, what Mr. Hudson just brought up, if there are issues with people representing themselves as living in Hudson, but they may not be, is there a platform or a venue in which to investigate that or check that? And I know this is not the time to have a.
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't come up with that. I think I would look at the voter registration roll.
Yeah, I think it would be Board of Elections would be the first place.
Elections is where I would
Just
start.
the way
Yeah.
it was spoken, it was a bit like, if there is any, I'm not just talking about the member, I'm talking about any member. If there is a concern.
Or if they don't reside in the ward where they move while they're on the council, we've had that happen in the past.
Anyone who votes outside of their, who doesn't live where they vote, that's the election.
Okay, good. So then it would go to the Board of Elections, not to the common council.
We can look into it. We can,
I'm just asking, I'm not talking about this particular one in general.
as a process, is there a process? We can look into that, but I don't have an answer right now.
Thank you.
Yes.
points legal.
We'll look into it.
If we're not allowing public comment, should they submit for it to be put on the record? If they have something that they would like to say?
Are you talking about my incident?
Yeah.
I think they put plenty on the record on Facebook.
On Facebook, but there's members that I believe wanted to say something, so should they submit something to the council to be put?
You can email the council, that's not a problem.
I think the Bill's comments bring up something that we probably talked about before, but I believe there's other people in this room that, the following of people home.
I'm sorry?
I believe that there's, Bill in particular has been following some people home, others in this room, and, I think it's a concern.
Yes.
I can speak to that. I am target of those.
Can we, I'd like to move on from this because I do not want this to turn into, personal, allegations, against people without them being present. So can we, if there's no new business, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion that Jason give us some evidence of his claim, please.
Shut up, Bill. Please, let's try to, it's okay, let's try to remain civil.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion to adjourn? Motion,
Who's the civil one?
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Bye.
Thank you all very, very much.